It's official, Tasmania's economy is on a downward slide. Figures reveal the residential property market is slow, and now federal stimulus funds have dried up. The commercial sector is down 40 to 50%. The state government's hoping a new residential planning code announced this week will give the economy a boost, but developers say it's not enough. Just today, the Supreme Court has sent the $100 million Parliament Square project back to the Planning Commission, even though demolishing the controversial 10 Murray has been given the OK. Fiona Breen spent the week talking to builders and developers about the difficulties of doing business in Tasmania.
For many people, building their dream home can quickly turn into a nightmare. Running the gauntlet of the state's lengthy and costly local council planning approval system can blow out timelines and budgets.
It's not simple at the moment. You could sell your home, buy your dream block of land and talk to a builder, and then the process starts to drag on and drag on. It's frustrating for everybody involved when that takes place.
How you going? Good.
The state's biggest home builder has seen people under enormous financial pressure as approval for their homes goes well beyond the statutory 42 days.
It's been extremely frustrating for many years, trying to get through the mountains of red tape we encounter nowadays, and just getting through council approvals, planning approvals, building approvals, dealing with other authorities such as Heritage or Southern Water. These are all time consuming and cost impact on the housing.
Builders and investors blame the state's 29 councils and the multitude of different planning schemes.
If you go to build just a simple home anywhere across the state, an investor could potentially be dealing with one of 36 different planning schemes, all with different rules. It's like having 36 different rules for an AFL game. If you're going to go and play that AFL game in Launceston or Burnie, you'll be playing with a different set of rules.
Builders say every time they take plans to a council, it's a lottery.
It's an interpretation of schemes. Some schemes, the planning officers will recommend approval or disapproval. When it gets to council and a full council meeting where you have well-meaning elected representatives who possibly don't have a planning background or understand planning, overriding their own staff members.
Congratulations. Well done. Thank you very much.
This week, there was a step forward in planning with the announcement of the state government's new residential code.
It is the most significant planning reform the state has seen in a number of decades.
It's been embraced by the industry.
What we've been able to do with the residential code is pare it back to just 6 standards: how tall the house is, how far it is from the neighbours' back boundaries, the front fence, and making sure that noise and privacy issues are addressed.
As long as the basic standards are adhered to, in theory, a building inspector could sign off on the plans in 2 weeks.
It's about simplification and consistency and giving people certainty, and through that you save cost and you get development happening again in this state. At the moment, people have no understanding of what they're going to get into when they enter the planning system. It's the equivalent of going to the casino, laying your money down and seeing what you come up with.
Industry is hoping it will encourage more investors. In the financial year just ended, there's been a 10% drop in house approvals in Tasmania.
This is the first step in a long road. It's one that I personally, as a Managing Director of Wilson Homes, welcome, and they have an enormous amount more work to do to get the state back and open for business.
Commercial developers say Tasmania is stagnant.
Anecdotally, if I look around, look at the 10 major developers in the city, how many of them actually have a project going at the moment? Not many.
In the commercial sector, there's been a 40 to 50% drop in approvals in the last financial year, compared to the stimulus-driven year before.
The first challenge is that it's harder to get financiers interested in developments here. You have to have higher rates of return here because the banks don't want to lend you on the same ratios as they do in Melbourne. So little things like planning restrictions, when you run into difficulty with councils, etc., that adds to the cost. Time adds to cost. And so that makes it even harder to do developments here.
The Property Council has been lobbying for a multi-residential and a commercial code for years to help streamline the system.
The Minister has indicated that they're certainly on the agenda for discussion. We would certainly welcome that. but we can't wait 6 years and 9 months that it's taken to get a single residential development code up.
No, we won't be waiting that long. I can assure the industry of that. We're talking about months here, not years. As I've indicated, the first stage of this process will occur very early next month.
Developer Troy Harper is about to start a $6 million project at Moona, redeveloping a former hydro site into offices, workshop and warehousing for Southern Water.
We've got about 7,500 square metres of asbestos to remove. We've got to decommission the current electrical system of the building. We've got to rewire the building, and we've got a large amount of office and other ancillary space to put back into this building.
He's been involved in property development in Tasmania for about 10 years, but planning laws are a headache, making some proposals too hard.
And I know ad hoc, over the last 3 or 4 years, I've probably had $20 to $30 million of developments that I haven't done in various areas because I couldn't find land that would be rezoned, or I found land that should be rezoned. I was in the right area but wasn't going to be rezoned.
He's not confident 3 new regional planning strategies currently in the pipeline will make things any better.
We actually need to sit down and understand what the problems are, the bureaucracy around planning, the wastage of cost around planning with reports that aren't read, that are unnecessary, that are not required, about the political decisions of officers who sit there and say, I just don't like the colour of your hair, so I'm not going to approve your development. Even though the schemes are written to be inclusive, it's the people managing them that make them exclusive.
They've played a constructive role in bringing to fruition the aspirations of the government when it comes to planning reform in the state.
The Minister is urging industry to have patience and give the reforms a go, but industry wants a timeline for reform.
We need to know that government is not going to be distracted by other issues and that they are going to put time and resources into reforming the planning system.
The government, however, couldn't be drawn on how long, but says it is committed.
Well, I know that the new multi-dwelling code will go to the Commission soon, very early next month, as the first part of the process. I've indicated to the industry that we want to ensure that these new codes come into play.
Not everyone's convinced it'll happen soon enough to give the economy the boost it needs.
We need to be pragmatic and say that, look, there are other issues. There are planning issues in New South Wales and there are planning issues in Victoria. And the planning systems in Victoria and New South Wales, frankly, are no better than they are here. The difference is that they will prosper in spite of their planning schemes. We need to be attracting investment to the state. So that means we need to be doing it better.